Yeah, it was exactly that. Like the power of connection. Like I would tell the women, because at first, I felt like, well, who am I? I listened to one of your podcasts where you were talking about like, well, you almost didn't want to talk about your past because did it really make you credible to do what you do? But actually, yes, of course it does. But like, I almost felt like, should I be guiding these women? Like, my life's a shit show still too, like, but that's the nature of like community, is to be able to open up. And I'm like, I am not trying to tell y'all what to do. I'm gonna like, let's do this together. I'm gonna kind of guide you. And just that vulnerability and honesty allowed women
Yes.
to really open up, and they learned from each other, and that's was the coolest part, and the connection kind of grew. I don't have the membership currently. I wound up kind of letting it go this year after like mid-year, and so I think I'm gonna start it up next year, just because I'm like, I have a lot of the girls are like, I really want to keep doing it. And so I think we're
Yeah.
going to get it started again.
It's a lot of
But
work. I mean, because you're
yeah,
already, you've got your jewelry business, you've got your
yeah,
son, especially being a single parent of a boy that age, they've got a lot of energy that you've got to keep up with. I mean,
yes,
it's been a long time, but I remember there's a lot to contend with there.
yes, there is. Yeah. And I'm a big, like, I mean, that's what I literally teach women, is like how to design a life you love. And so when I did the group, and it was amazing, but I was in a position and like transition where it wasn't really lining up with the life I love. I loved the group, but it was whatever was happening this year, I wasn't connected to that. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to not do it for a little bit. Like, that's life, Like, I didn't disappoint anybody. They kind of knew it was ending. And then if I maybe was going to continue it or not. But like, I think we have to listen to ourselves and say
Yes.
when the timing is right for things or when it's not, kind of feel into like our intuition about it. But I
It,
do kind of have
it,
this like itch for like, I really want to do it again. So I
I
think I'm going to
agree
get
because I
started.
think once it moves into that obligation, it
Yeah.
loses the magic, it loses the spirit, and then it becomes something I have to do as opposed to something I want to do. And I think
Yeah.
if we can just keep things in the I really want to and love doing this, it makes it more authentic and genuine instead of forced. So good for
100%.
you. Good
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of charity work and other things to bring awareness and donations and things like that. Is it just to this specific kind of cancer that your husband had, or is it just cancer in general?
So Ryan had peripheral T cell lymphoma NOS, which is a very rare cancer. And so over the years, we've raised money for so many different things, but we do typically focus on cancer related organizations, but they don't have to be specifically lymphoma. Um, every year we do like a big butterfly release for his birthday, and we
It's
just
beautiful.
ask friends, family, clients, anybody who knows me, if they want to donate $25. We release a butterfly, like either in Ryan's honor or in maybe a loved one, if they want to let us know who it's in honor of. And we've raised, I really need to do a full calculation, but we've raised, gosh, 30, $40,000 over the last few years, and we give it to families who are experiencing the financial burden of cancer. And it's not an organization. It's literally like people gift us the money to do the butterfly release, and we turn around and we give out $1,000 um, checks to people who they tell us. Like, I'm like, hey, anybody know anybody experiencing the financial burden of cancer? And somebody's like, yes, I got this friend. Yes. And so I literally just call them, and I'm like, I kind of do a little bit of explanation, but I'm like, we have $1,000 for you. You don't need to tell us how you spend it or anything. We know it doesn't make everything okay, but hopefully it helps a little bit. Um, so that's been really rewarding. And I do that definitely in Ryan's honor, because when he was sick, he would go to the hospital a lot of times without me. I'd be with the baby. And he'd come home and he'd say, hey, go to this GoFundMe page. Let's donate to this person. And I'm like, okay, who is that? And he wouldn't know the person. He would have overheard them, or maybe he met him in a waiting room. And we didn't donate a lot, but we would donate a little bit here and there. And his thing was like, when I get better, I'm not going to forget about what we went through. Like, we're going to keep helping people. Like, that's definitely my goal, because before he got sick, he was a busy business owner. Our life was the business. And he was like, I'm still going to have a business, but I'm not going to just focus on my business. Like, I got to remember this. And we didn't have as much of the financial burden as a lot of other people do, because we had savings and we had family that helped us and we had insurance. But so many people are not only just affected by the burden of like cancer and death, they're like the extra part of the finances is huge, you know? So yeah, we do that, and we do a lot of different organizations that are cancer related. And what I love to do, I actually should do this soon this fall, is I'll do like if people purchase from jewelry from my website, I'll do like a week long, like we'll donate 15% to the charity of your choice. So,
Mm,
you know, what's important to you, you know, because of your story is not maybe the same organization that is on the top of my list. So I want
sure.
to support yours. And that's cool because then I get to hear the stories of why it's important to other people too. So you're reminding me I need to do that. I'm gonna write that down for the fall.
Oh, good. Yes, and please let me know because I would love to do that as well. And as
Yeah.
you were talking, I was thinking, because a lot of times we want to give, but it's not that much. And obviously, a $25 donation when you have hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical bills is like a drop in the bucket. But I think that just signifies like hope and care, and there is
Mm.
somebody listening. And I think it's more of a symbolization at that point that probably really makes people feel good and thought of and cared about, and somebody's listening. It probably is very
Yeah.
momentous.
Yeah. And they'll say like when I call to tell them what's going on, you know, that we're going to send them a check, they're like, thank you. Like they're thinking, man. And I have to say, I'm like, actually, this is not really from me. This is from like hundreds of people who put in to help because we care. We care about you. We know you're going through something hard. And believe it or not, I kind of think like, oh, $1,000, like, is it really? But the things people tell me, they're like, I wasn't going to be able to get groceries this week. Like, I wasn't going to be able
Yeah,
to pay my car note. Like, it's crazy, like, what $1,000 can do for somebody. And especially without having to jump through hoops. A lot of times there's these grants and things like that, and they got to do so much paperwork and jump through so much hoops, and they're just exhausted. You know, they're going
yeah.
through cancer treatment. So that's been like my favorite thing every year. To do in Ryan's honor. And my son gets to celebrate his dad's birthday by releasing hundreds of butterflies into the
Oh.
air, you know, and at the cemetery. It's so beautiful. So
You
it's
do it at the cemetery?
we do, yeah. So in New
Wow.
Orleans, we have beautiful cemeteries.
Yeah, you do.
They're above ground and they're just beautiful oak trees. They're so beautiful. So yeah, we do. We have you know, friends and family come out if they would like. This year he invited some of his second grade friends, which I was like a little leery with the parents. I'm like, guys, like they know his dad's in heaven, but like I don't know if y'all really want to come to the cemetery, but it is really beautiful. And so a
Yeah.
few parents let their kids go and they were like, this is beautiful. We're coming every year. Like, and their kids
Oh,
loved it. And Winston was so proud to talk about his dad. And um, it was beautiful. So it's like, you know, celebrating it, you know, in a way that we can do it where we also get to have a purpose behind it. Like, you know,
yeah.
we went through something hard and continue to. And I think things like that really, um, give it purpose. Like you would want, obviously if I could have Ryan back, I would take Ryan back, but like his life now has more of a legacy even so because we're doing things that maybe we wouldn't have spent so much time doing, you know, if he would be here. Um
Yeah.
but maybe we would. If he would have survived, I'm sure we would have been doing something. I don't know if it would have looked like that though.
Yeah, I mean, life
Yeah.
just gets moving. But what I
Yeah.
love about this is every year, no matter what's going on, this is a time to remember, like,
Mm.
where you've come from, where, the origin of that. And really, like, I think, appreciate life and what you have and not take that for granted, which I think a lot of us just going through life, we can sort of take that for granted. This would be a constant reminder to not do so.
Yeah. And that's like honestly, I feel like my mission in life is to just like get talk to people about what excites them in life and like not everything can be exciting but like so I have this little I actually have this little journaling thing that I do when I speak on stages and I actually me and my son do it every day on the way to school because you don't have to even write it, you can just do it. But it's this simple way of like stepping into like um getting excited about your life and being intentional about it. And it's gratitude, intention, and aligned action. So like every morning we're in the car and I'm like, Winston, I don't ask him to do it. I'll just say like, Winston, I'm grateful for, and I'll list three things. And Today was like, I'm grateful that Poppy, my dad, called me and asked me to help him with something because I always need his help. And I'm grateful he feels good enough to ask me, because I want to help him too. And
Sure.
so, listing a few things, and then he's in the back seat. He'll list three things, and then I'll say, okay, well, what are your intentions? No, I won't. I'll typically try not to ask them because I feel like when you ask a 7-year-old, they're like, And so I'm like,
Yeah.
well, today I intend to be productive. I intend to be healthy, and I intend to be fun or something, whatever my intentions are. And then we'll go through, and then he'll say, his is usually strong, happy, smart. And then we'll say, well, how are we going to do it? And so for him, strong, he's like, I'm going to try really hard in PE. Smart, I'm going to listen good in math and make sure I get all my, learn whatever the teacher's telling me. And then fun, I'm going to make sure I have fun on the playground with my friends. So it's so simple, but it's like those are three things that he can remember during the day that, like, if he does it, like if he's in math class, he's going to remember, like, oh, I said I want to be smart today. I'm going to pay attention. And we can all do that with every day of our life. Like, we always are totally bogged down with a million things we need to do. But if you can just remember, like, how do I intend to show up today? Like, I
Yeah.
intended to show up and have fun today. So instead of like trying to figure that out, like in the morning, I like say, like, my aligned action with fun is I'm going to go outside and throw the football with my son because that's fun to me. And so it's like a little bitty aligned action that aligns with your intentions. And like just today, if you just do the three things you have on your little aligned action list, then you lived a purposeful day. Like, you got excited about life. You lived the way you wanted to live. Um, Even though there's going to be a million other things that come up. So it's just like um, a simple thing we always do. It's gratitude, intention, aligned action.
I love that. And what a great way to set your intention and with gratitude at the very beginning of the day. Do
Yeah.
you have a similar nighttime routine where you go, okay, what were my intentions? Did I achieve that and I feel good about that? Or this is good enough and tomorrow's a new day?
Well, what I'll usually do because I do it with my son, is we'll do it on the way home from school. So I'll
Ah,
say,
nice.
like, because usually a lot of his stuff will be about being at school, whatever his intentions are. And so we'll
Yeah.
go through them. But at night, I'm such a sleepy person. I'm like done at night. I'm like, get in the bed so I can go crawl into mine. I should probably have a little bit more of a reset. But the next morning, I kind of, see how I feel like I did. And a lot
Yeah.
of times I'll write it down. So like when I do that, um, like I have a little guide I can give you all a link to for your
Oh,
listeners.
perfect.
And it's
Yes.
literally like, it's just that. My jewelry is simple. Life is complicated. Like, I believe in simplicity. So the journaling is simple. The jewelry is simple. Everything's simple. But I have
Smart.
a little guide that just like shows you those three steps. And to me, it makes you be able to take hold of your life a little bit more, like, and feel a little bit in control, even when things can be out of whack, or feel a little crazy sometimes.
For sure. And it's such a great way to start the day that way, as opposed to now that everything's all crazy, let me try to think about this. It's like, now let's set that intention first thing in the morning so then maybe the day doesn't get quite so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it makes you really go, like, how do I want to feel or be today? Like, when you ask like, I think, like, journaling, especially is in life, is about like asking yourself good questions. And like, you can just go on with your busy day and forget to even ask, how do I want to show up today? Like, you're just showing up. And a lot of times we're showing up with our past bullshit and trauma and like aggravations. And that's how we're facing the world. But if we intend to say, you know what, I'm going to shake that off a little bit. And today, my intention is to show up peacefully, or is to show up joyfully. Like, what is that true, like, intention that you want to really project to the world, and not even project, be and feel.
Hmm.
And what's something little that you can do to do it, that aligns with that intention. Um,
I love that.
so
God, I wish I'd
super
had that
simple.
tool when I had my kids. Um, I mean,
Mm,
I get the carpooling. Like, I always took my kids to school and picked them up because that was my like time where I had them sort of pinned down and I could try to get information from them. But
yeah.
I wish I had done these processes with them, throughout their day, just so But it's just such a great tool that he's going to take with him his entire life. And I'm like only imagining of a lifetime of doing this, where you would be as a person when you get to my age. It's really amazing.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it's not like one of those like, oh, my mom did this weird thing, but he seems to enjoy it. And like even the process of me doing it in adults when we talk about it, even if you don't go through that full process, like it makes you think about it sometimes. Like you're like, oh wait, you can really like intend to be a certain way and just like do it. Like it makes you realize
Yeah.
like you're actually kind of in control of more than you think you are.
For sure, especially
So
for like someone like me. Like I'm just not a morning person. It's like, okay, well, how about we be a morning person? I'm going to be a morning person today. I'm going to hit the ground running. It's going to be great.
yeah, and instead of just like okay, so say you're normally not a morning person, but you're gonna be one. What is just one little thing that would make you excited about mornings? Like, is it like your
Yeah.
coffee with the perfect creamer? Like, that's all
Yes.
you need to say you're gonna do today is like, when I get up, because I am gonna be a morning person today, I'm gonna get that great coffee. I'm gonna sit on my porch. Like, how can you design it to be what you want it to be instead of being like, oh, I'm supposed to be a morning person? Like, how can I do this? Like doing it
Exactly. Well,
like
other
bringing
people, when
real.
I see them do it, they're just like whistling and happy. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I,
no. Yeah.
I like that. And you're right, coffee is the magic for me, for sure.
I know. I realized I didn't have coffee today, and so a little while ago, I'm like, I'm gonna just pour a little cup of decaf because if this is caffeinated, I'll be wide awake later. Um,
Oh, yeah.
like I need a
Yeah, you
little
got to hit
something.
that bed when you go to bed.
I know. I'm a sleepy person for sure.
Yeah. So tell me about your jewelry. Like, so you design it now. You went from working in the store. Well, I guess you were helping people design
Yeah.
jewelry back then. So it's not like something totally new and different.
Right. Yeah. So what I did when I worked at the local jewelry store at Aucoin Heart is I mostly were doing engagement rings. Like that's what it was, a big diamond store. My line, I don't have any diamonds. So I did a collection that's super minimalistic, and it's really for the self-purchasing woman, like a woman that's going to buy herself a piece of jewelry and isn't kind of I always say my biggest competitor is like guilt, because women do feel guilty of spending money on themselves, unfortunately. But so I do like minimalistic 14 karat gold and sterling silver. So everything has a meaning, so it's meaningful but minimal, and it's like just simple designs around things like gratitude, strength, living on the edge. Like everything has like a little bit of a theme to it, but it doesn't say that. Like it's not like none of my gratitude pieces say the word gratitude. So it's really about like you knowing the meaning and you kind of like being intentional and feeling the meaning when you wear it. But yeah, it's been cool. So I sketch and design it. A lot of people think like they're like, do you like actually make it? I do not make jewelry. I'm not a jeweler. So I sketch it, design it, and then I have a manufacturer here in the US that I have a CAD designer who will like put it on the computer and get it really into the form and function that would work as a piece of jewelry. And then yeah, we manufacture it, and then it's ready to go when my customers want it. So it's really it's a neat um industry to be in, and I'm very particular about like high quality, but I also want it to be affordable. So
Hmm.
it's all made in the US. It's nice quality, but it's minimal to keep sort of like cost down, plus that's just my style too.
Do you ever use gemstones or is it strictly metal
So we are
or
introducing
gold?
our first gemstone this fall. We're doing malachite, which is a green stone. Got one right here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it though. Obviously, people listening won't
Oh
see it,
yeah,
but it's like
it's a
this
good one.
really pretty, like dark green with striations kind of through it. So we're going to do like a limited run of malachite for the fall, a pendant and a necklace. I mean, a necklace and a ring, and we're going to see how that goes. I'm so minimal that like I love the green color, but I don't love like a bunch of colors. So
Right.
but we just started well, we're just starting this November, like in a week, to offer permanent jewelry, which is really fun, where we're gonna have events in New Orleans and wherever. Like if I usually speak out of town. We'll do it wherever I'm speaking at. But we weld a chain around someone's wrist, so then it stays
Wow.
on them and they don't have a clasp. So it's like, again, something that would be meaningful. A lot of like mother daughters do it, or like best friends and have
Oh,
matching ones. And it just kind of becomes part of you. So I'm excited to start offering that too, and having the
that
experience
is
of
a
it.
cool
Yeah.
idea. I really
Yeah.
love that. Would you do an ankle bracelet? Because for me,
Yes. Oh,
I've got all
yeah.
my watches and stuff, but I would love to do an ankle bracelet, and they always break and they always fall
Yep.
off. But I would love something like that.
Yes. Yeah. I would ankle for sure, ankle bracelet. So yeah, we're gonna have like pop-ups at like locally we'll do like women have I I know people do like Botox parties and stuff like that here. So they're like, we want to invite you to our Botox party so you can do the bracelets while we do it, or we'll do it
Perfect.
at the jewelry store. But yeah, and then yeah, I'm doing it. Our first one actually will be at a retreat in Gulf Shores, Alabama this next weekend. But yeah, we'll wherever people want it around. I wouldn't, you can do around your neck, but I was just thinking about, I don't know. I like ankle and bracelet the best. Like an anklet or a bracelet, I think would be probably the most popular. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a brilliant idea. Honestly, that's really smart. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been popular. Like it really has been a trendy thing. I think maybe from TikTok. Really kind
Mm-hmm.
of, it's not a new thing, but it's like TikTok kind of made it like where people really want it. And I love the minimalism of it. It's just a chain. It's so simple. And so we've been sourcing some really fun and pretty chains. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be in front of people again. So my business is mostly online unless I'm speaking at an event. And so I'm kind of excited to like go places and have like clients in front of me and get to like touch and feel
Yeah.
and talk to them, you know?
Yeah. Well, especially being a person who likes to help, the best way you can help
Yeah.
people, your proximity, you can see what they need, you can read their body language. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, for sure. So
It's
we're
same for me
excited about
for
that.
sure.
Yeah. Where are you
So,
located, Angie? I should probably know that.
oh, I'm in Santa Cruz, California. So
Oh, okay.
I'm
I love it.
way across the United States from you, over on the coast, though, in Northern California.
The much better weather than us too.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of cold this morning. It was like 40s or 50s, but in the afternoon, like for example, yesterday I was walking my dogs on the beach,
Oh,
so in the waves. So it was probably like 60s. It was so nice. I was like,
oh my gosh.
dang, we are so lucky here. Like, this
You
is amazing.
you are so lucky. That sounds like magic. Like I would love that. I love
Yeah,
California. Anytime I'm there,
yeah.
I get off the plane back home and the humidity like hugs me.
I
I'm
was
like,
about to
oh,
say that's the thing you guys have.
I
Yeah,
live in a
it's rough.
swamp. I'm home.
Yes, instantly your hair goes. At
Yeah,
least mine does when it's there. It's like instantly. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening?
100%. Yes, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but
if I'm ever in your area doing a speech or something, I'll let you know. I can come give you a little anklet, put a little anklet on you.
I would love that. So, yeah, tell me this. I know we just have a few minutes before we have to wrap up, but what kind of places or situations are you speaking at? Different events or
Yeah.
that sort of thing?
So typically it's women's events, so women leadership events, or so this year was really cool. One of my first speaking engagements was in California, in Costa Mesa, but for SEMA, which is it's an automotive aftermarket part industry, like um, so it's a male dominated industry, automotive aftermarket parts, but it was the women's group. Like they did a women's leadership conference and I got to go speak to them. We did the guided journaling and it was like a huge hit and so cool to see like really badass women like all come together and get kind of vulnerable together because they really kind of can't do that in their normal day to day like male driven
Oh
industry.
yeah, you cannot have emotions as a female. Like that's
Yeah.
just not tolerated in a male dominated
Yeah.
business. Yeah.
Yeah, so they loved the journaling because typically when
Uh,
I do it at a speech, it's maybe 60 to 100 people, and we talk about it as we write, and then I let people in the audience like share, take a microphone, and it's magical. Like it really brings people together. So that was fun, and so yeah, it's usually driven by like a motivational event for women, and then I also do talk about other things besides journaling. Like I did a product-based business talk about really telling story and selling for that particular industry was product-based businesses. So it just depends on what the industry, what the event is about, and if it feels like aligned with me, and if I feel aligned with them, then I'm like, yes, let's do it. I want to talk to as many people as I can because I
Uh,
just, yeah, I like to.
I love that. Yeah, maybe one of these times if you're out here already in this area, I'd love to have you come up to the center and we could do a group with my female clients because, again,
Oh,
you know, we kind of treat everybody same, but there's we do have groups for men and women because there's just a
mhm.
vulnerability that they're willing to express amongst each other, but not as the whole group. So
Yeah.
I think this would be
And
perfect,
even,
and we already have like so much that we do in the curriculums where we're writing, where this
mm,
is 100% in alignment with that.
oh my gosh, that would be so special. And even so, I've had men tell me, well, why do you not talk to men? And
Yeah.
I would totally do a group of men too, but like you said, the vulnerability. So like men together, I think would be more vulnerable, maybe potentially a little more vulnerable together than men maybe not being so vulnerable in front of women and same. So so yeah, it's kind of like the, you want people to feel like they can talk and let things out and connect. Like the biggest thing is when people feel seen or heard in somebody else's story, even though their story might not be the same. It's just kind of like, oh, a little piece of that hit me because I felt it, because I had something similar. Um,
Yep.
so yeah, I would love to do that one day. So we'll
Yeah,
connect
and
together
and
and let's
also
do it.
just free of judgment because I think just
Mm,
in general, men and women think differently. So
yep.
whereas they could be more genuine because they're not being protective of being judged, you know, slut
Yes.
shamed or whatever it is, whatever's coming out in their writings. There's more freedom to be expressive, I would think, in a more close group
100%.
like that. Yeah.
100%. Yes. Yes. Well, I would be honored and would love that. And I love what you're doing. Like I was listening to your podcast and like looking more into your story, and like you're pretty badass. Like you have,
Oh,
really taken something that was part of your life that and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel like I heard you say something about, maybe feeling a little shame about like that's what happened or what was your life. But like think about if that didn't happen, if you didn't take that path, and who wouldn't have been touched by you now? How many paths you took that hard route, but how many paths are you making easier now? And that's generational. So I'm inspired by you, and I love what you're doing, and I'm very, very just inspired by you. I really am.
oh, I appreciate that. You know,
Mm,
I mean, I know it's true. Not, I mean, not in an egotistical way. Like this is my purpose, passion in life. But it's
yep.
always nice to hear it from somebody like you. It really like just reaffirms everything that I'm doing and makes me want to do more of it. And how can I reach more people? It's why I started doing the podcast. It's like, how can we
Yep.
help more people? How can we reach more people? How can we contribute more and make a bigger impact?
Yeah, I love that, and you're doing it. So like I said, I'm super inspired, and I'm glad that you can take that in, because I know it's hard to hear sometimes when people say say to you, So
Very
take it
hard. I've
in.
tried to get
And
better at it through the
I
years
know.
because I used to really like my whole family's that way. Like they don't want any acknowledgement whatsoever. So I've really had to work hard to just sort of graciously say it's okay to feel like that and appreciate
Yeah,
it.
feel proud of yourself. Yeah, and you're doing great things. So
Thank
thank you
you,
for having
as you
me.
are too. Yes, please tell our listeners how they can find you. I mean, we'll put it all in the show notes. But if they're
Sure.
listening, tell us all the amazing things you're doing and where they can find you doing all those things.
Sure. Yeah. So I mostly am on Instagram. That's where you can really, get me anytime. And that's Crystalyn Aucoin Jewelry. You definitely need to put that in your show notes because my name is very hard to spell. um,
Yes, and how do you pronounce your oak coin?
Aucoin,
Oakwin?
Aucoin, Aucoin.
Oakwin.
Uh-huh.
Oakwin. Got it.
Yeah, Crystalyn Aucoin. And then, yeah, our website is womenbyjewelry.com. And
Okay.
yeah, so I'm available, and if you want me to, I'll give you all the link for, they can, like, it's a little free download of that little journaling guide if anybody wants that. Super simple, like I said. But yeah,
Absolutely.
find me on Instagram and connect. And I'm like the biggest cheerleader. So if anybody's going through something, or they're got a spark or an idea, or they're working on something exciting in life, like let me know about it, because I'm going to be like the number one fan, like following you and cheering you on along the way, because I love to see people getting excited about life.
Oh, I love that. That is such a great way to like be there for people as opposed to like if you're having a bad day, it's like, no, if you're doing good things, let's share it. I love that.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
You're,
Big,
you're the
big believer
best.
in that.
You're the best. I hope you and your son have an awesome Halloween. I can imagine it's super spooky and great there in Louisiana.
Oh yeah.
Especially in New Orleans. I mean, I went there to visit, and I know we both got to go, but I was spooked out, and it wasn't even Halloween, and I love that stuff. I was like, dang, there's some ghosts around here. This is amazing.
I'll have to send you like they have this house on St. Charles Avenue where it's like they put all these skeletons out, and it's so cool.
uh,
I'll have to try to send you a link to that so you can see it. But yeah, this is a
yes.
spooky town, and we're going on a haunted hayride this weekend and all the fun stuff. So yeah, it's
Ah,
gonna be good.
fun. All right. Well, enjoy, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Bye,
All
Angie.
right. Thanks. Bye.